So this sculpt from the Stormlight Miniatures STL files is one of my favorites of the bunch. It's a variation of the generic Shardbearer pose, and I painted him up as one of the Ruthar cousins from the Words of Radiance arena fight. As I go through this, I'll show you my process and how I painted him this gold color, because in the lore, this character was wearing the King's Plate, which was painted gold. So I started out with getting one of the hammers from my Warhammer bits collection, and so I jimmy rigged this hammer in place of the Shardblade, like he's swinging the hammer really hard. I started out with a primer of metallic silver, and then I went straight into a base coat of gold. I used Retributor armor for this from the Citadel range. I put a shade on the shard plate with Reichland Flesh Shade. The combination of Retributor armor plus the Reichland Flesh Shade is really good, and I really liked how this just two coats of paint really made a big difference here. After that, I did a wash of Nuln Oil on the Shardhammer itself to bring out the recesses. I then mixed Carapace Red and Dark Brown from the Stormlight paint set to create a dark red that I put on the base of the miniature. Now I'm doing this here because my Stormlight Alethi army is Shattered Plains themed, but when I get ready to do my diorama of the arena, I'm going to be clipping him off the base and putting him on more of a sandy textured base. I then base coated the hammer shaft red to be indicative of Ruthar's house colors, and the cloth that was wrapped around there I did in blue. Now I come back and I undo that because that red and blue, I don't really like how it turns out. But you make mistakes along the way with painting miniatures, and this is no exception. After those base coats had dried, I came in and did a Nuln Oil on the hammer shaft itself, and came back to the base with a dry brush of light brown. This is in particular Bugman's Glow from Citadel range, and then I came after that with a dry brush of Cadian Flesh Shade. Now, dry brushing is still something I'm trying to learn, but this is just an old makeup brush. Highly recommend getting better at dry brushing because it really adds some awesome effects. Now, there was a gemstone on the pommel of this shard blade. I didn't take it off. I decided to turn that into a gemstone at the base of the shard hammer. Not sure if they do that, but I'm still getting comfortable with how to do gemstones. If you want a better tutorial, here's a link to one that I really like. Be sure to check that out if you're doing any gemstones for Stormlight. I then came in with shading the base with the dark brown Agrax Earth Shade to soak into the recesses. And then I came back to that cloth wrap on the hammer shaft and changed it to an off-white because I liked the red and the white and the gold all together. It made a good combo. Coming back to the gemstone, I added some under highlight to the gemstone with some white, and then came in and started layering on red to glaze into the black. Again, I'm not really good at this. I added a white dot on the opposite side of the gemstone from where I put that red color. From there, I dry brushed a light red on the hammer shaft to help catch some of those raised details. And then with a watered down white, I put that into the helmet slits to make it look like his helmet was glowing a little bit through the eye slits. And then I came back in and shaded down the cloth wrap with strong tone. This keeps the white cloth from conflicting with the light source from the eye slits. And then I came back and raised some of the cloth highlights with an off-white, and touched up the eye slits with gold because it gets really messy up there when you're trying to get the small areas. So coming back in and cleaning up is a good thing to do. As I did that, I noticed that I needed to go in and highlight the gold armor. Anywhere where I put the shade previously kind of left a residue, a darker shade residue. And so I needed to go in and polish that up with Retributor Gold, getting that back on top. Then for some finishing touches, I came in with the gloss varnish on the gemstone to give it a shiny effect. On the hammerhead itself, I did a light silver highlight along the edges. My favorite point of a miniature is when I get to paint the base trim. Now I do add a 32mm base to my miniatures, these Starlight miniatures, just to give it a more polished feel. Feel free to drop a comment about any part of what I did in this tutorial. If you liked this, please give me a like on YouTube, help the algorithm out. I encourage anyone watching, if you want to join in on some of our monthly painting challenges, join my Discord. We have them going on every month and would love to see you over there.